Golden Age of Indian History. Why do we call it the Golden Age? It is because it was an age of cultural and scientific achievements. People enjoyed social, political and economic prosperity. This period marked the revival of Hinduism and Sanskrit literature, hence it is called the Golden Age of Indian History. Let us now have a look at the developments in this age. Science. An important contribution was made by the Guptas in the field of science, astrology, astronomy and metallurgy. Medicine was also very advanced. The two great astronomers and mathematicians of this period were Aryabhatta and Varahamihara. Aryabhatta said that the earth moves around the sun and at the same time it moves on its own axis. He wrote Aryabhattiyam, in which he provided solutions to many mathematical problems. To honor this great man, our first indigenous satellite is named after him. Varahamihara was the author of Brihat Samhita, an encyclopedia of science. The numeral system was very advanced at that time. Numerals were first developed and used by the Indians. This system was later adopted by the Arabs, who improved it further and passed it on to the Europeans. Indian mathematicians also knew the use of zero and the decimal system. The science of metallurgy had reached an advanced state, which is evident from the iron pillar at Mehrauli in Delhi. Till date, it has not rusted despite its exposure to sun and rain. The gold coins of the Gupta age were excellently designed. In the field of medicine too, there was great progress. Dhanvantri was the greatest physician of this time. Veterinary science also developed. Number of hospitals were there for the treatment of common people. The physicians Vagbhat and Brahmagupta were other gems of this era. Literature. The Gupta period saw progress in both religious and non-religious literature. The Gupta kings were patrons of Sanskrit literature. Some of the finest poems and dramas were written in the Gupta period. Kalidasa, the Shakespeare of India, lived during the reign of Chandragupta II. His famous works included Meghaduta, Raghuvamsha, Ritu Samhara, Kumara Sambhava. His plays Abhijan Shakuntalam, Vikramor Vasiyam and Malavik Agnimitram are the gems of Sanskrit literature. The other eminent writers of this period included Sutraka, who wrote Mritchakatika, Vishakadatta, who authored Mudra Rakshasa, and Devachandraguptam. Panchatantra, a famous collection of fables, was written by Vishnu Sharma in this period. The Ramayana and Mahabharata and the Puranas were written in their present form during this period. The Jains also developed literature in Prakrit language. The Gupta period also saw the development of Sanskrit grammar. Panini and Patanjali were famous grammarians. Panini's Ashtabhyayi is famous work on Sanskrit grammar. Amar Sinha wrote the famous Sanskrit dictionary Amarkosha. Art and architecture. Under the patronage of the Gupta kings, art and architecture flourished. Numerous temples were built with bricks and stones and had beautiful doors. Initially, the temples were small in size, but with the passage of time, large temples were constructed. The famous temples included Dasavatara at Deogarh near Jhansi, the temple of Bhittargaon near Kanpur, and the temple at Sanchi. Buddhist art and architecture also flourished during the Golden Age. The most famous cave temples at Ajanta near Aurangabad. The walls of these caves are covered with paintings which were made using natural colors. They are called frescoes. They are amongst the finest paintings which depict events related to the life of Buddha. They are a major tourist attraction even today. Many Buddhist monasteries were built in this period. Some of them were in caves which were carved out from hillside. Some of the most beautiful stone sculptures have been found in these monasteries. The seated Buddha at Sarnath and the standing image of Buddha kept at the Mathura Museum are amongst the best specimens of sculpture of this period. Many images of Mahavira have also been found at Mathura and Gorakhpur. We can conclude by saying that for roughly 100 years, India was basking in the glory of peace and prosperity. It developed and reached new heights in literature, mathematics, science, art, and architecture. Kings showed religious tolerance. The result, Jainism, Buddhism, and Hinduism flourished side by side. Thus, we see that an invaluable contribution was made by the Guptas to our cultural heritage. Administration. The rulers of the period assumed high-sounding titles and performed Rajsuya and Ashwamedha sacrifices to show their power. The structure of the administration of Gupta was like that of the Mauryas. However, the Mauryan administration was centralized, whereas during the Gupta rule, the governors of the provinces were powerful and thus administration was more decentralized. The king was assisted by a council of ministers. The ministers were highly paid officials who often led the armies during war. In later periods, they were granted land instead of cash salaries. This weakened the king's position as the officials started becoming powerful and tried to break away from the empire. The empire was divided into provinces called Uparika, which were generally under the princes. The provinces were divided into districts called Vaishya under Vaishyapati. The large number of officers are mentioned in the literary works. Important posts gradually became hereditary. An important person could hold more than one administrative or judicial post. In the villages, the headmen and village elders looked after village administration. Agriculture was the chief source of state revenue. Hence, irrigation was given a lot of importance. To increase revenue, some rulers extended agriculture to wasteland by making grants to these lands. Most of the rulers took steps to promote both inland and maritime trade. Each city had a council which had a council president, chief scribe, and representatives from the guilds of merchants and artisans. It is believed that in Gupta kingdom, the officers had great powers to make decisions locally. Economy. During the Gupta period, agriculture formed a significant part of the empire's economy. However, the trade and commerce activities of the Gupta Empire grew steadily. The merchant and other traders were organized into guilds. These guilds were given concessions in the taxes that were liable to be paid to the government. The guilds played a chief role in the goods industry and also helped to further strengthen the economic condition of the empire. The guilds had regulated their own laws and all the member merchants were expected to abide by these laws. At the time of the Gupta dynasty, rural kings gave land grants to the Buddhist church. The church or the Sangha took up the role of a banker and provided monetary support on interest to those in need. During this period, borrowing money was less expensive as compared to the Mauryan Empire. There was no fixed rate of interest since there was none prescribed by the government. However, the rate of interest could be more than the existing one only when it was so agreed by both the parties involved. The easy accessibility of money to those in need, and that too at a reasonable rate, was a positive factor which helped the economy of the Gupta Empire to progress. There was industrial development during the Gupta period. The textile industry was an essential industry of this empire. Some of the major items of produce included silk, muslin, calico, linen, wool, and cotton. These goods were also exported. There were other flourishing industries of the Gupta Empire like ivory work, stone cutting and carving of stones like jasper, agate, quartz, carnelian, lapis, lazuli, etc. Metal work of precious metals like gold, silver, copper, iron, bronze, lead, etc. Pearl industry was also very popular. However, the most important industry was pottery. Trading activities within the empire were carried out very smoothly and efficiently. Animals were used for transporting goods from one place to another. Goods were also transported via sea route with the help of ships. The Gupta rulers issued large number of gold coins. These gold coins were known as dinars. After the Saka, Kshatrapa kingdom of Gujarat was invaded. The Gupta rulers also issued silver coins. During the reign of the Gupta dynasty, lead and rare copper coins were also issued. Gupta Empire carried out trade with China, Ceylon and other European countries. After around 550 AD, trading activities with the Roman Empire were relaxed. The Guptas imported Chinese silk and ivory from East Africa. During this time, Southeast Asia became a center trade for the Gupta Empire.